So welcome. We last got together in March and there's been a lot of busy stuff going on. People asked about how the external part of the house looks. I mean, I'm not stealing Chuck's thunder here, but here's some of those skylights that he was pointing out before. All new windows, all new fascia. You look at the trims in really good shape. The only thing missing, it looks a little weird, is there's no gutters on here. Those are actually coming in the next week or so. But the
Tomorrow.
house is looking really good. There's a lot of frantic work going on right now. Um, so anyhow, without further ado, let me get to the agenda here. Okay, so basically Mike Clark is gonna kick us off again, as he does other times before. And then we've got something different tonight, guys. I mean, we weren't gonna do a whole review of the house. There's a lot going on. And we have another session you'll see later that's planned for August where we're gonna give you guys a look at where we are versus, the completion before the reunion on September 5th and 6th. So we're going to do that. Matt Sturgeon, and we're going to get into how we split the alumni boards into two. And Matt Sturgeon is the president of the chapter advisory board, and we'll get into some of those details. And he's got I think, some very interesting information about how we're going to optimize and protect our investment in the house since you guys have contributed so much money. Then I'll give a very short fundraising update just to tell you where we are on the numbers. Kevin and company, I don't know if Peter is on the line with us today.
No, he's planning to be. He's leaving a reception in DC, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
Peter, our liaison, is interning for Dick Durbin this summer. So we call him Senator now. He's got an official nickname, which is great. But he's scheduled to appear.
All right, excellent. If
Back
not,
in our days,
I know
too.
you'll be able to carry the torch there, Kevin. And then Mike will close us out, and then any questions and answers at the end. So, Mike, it's all yours.
All right, thanks, Dan. Well, good evening, brothers, and welcome to another virtual chapter meeting. The timing of this meeting brings back a memory from 59 years ago this week. That was the spring of my freshman year, and I had pledged DU during informal rush that spring semester and immediately became involved in the various activities of the house. For me, membership in the chapter was going to be a means of significant improvement in my campus life, moving out of the dorms. I was a resident in Weston Hall. At the end of my freshman year, my dad came to campus to pick me up, take me home for the summer, put me in a summer job. But before leaving the campus, I said, Dad, I got to show you where I'm going to live for the next few years here, the rest of my life in college. I really want you to see this place. This is just fabulous. It's great. It's great. I want you to see it. Well, my timing was pretty poor. If you can imagine what the house looked like at the end of a finals week, with some brothers that were hungover and some brothers that were pretty dispirited, lots of beer cans, pizza boxes, all kinds of junk laying around. But I was proud of the house, and I wanted him to know how proud I was. But it was not a good impression. So the return home, the drive was pretty quiet. And about halfway back, he turns to me and he says, it looks like you're giving up a lot in living conditions by moving into this fraternity thing. Now, he knew something about living conditions because he grew up in a 4-room house in Lincoln, Illinois, with 5 other siblings and no indoor plumbing. And when he was 18, he went to Chicago, got a job at a Fortune 500 company, and pulled himself up to an executive level. So he had a perspective that he felt like he could give me a little bit of crap. And I took that admonition to heart, and I reflected on it. But my point was not the living conditions at DU, because what I saw was really what I call the conditions of living. And to play on that idea of conditions of living that came through the house, let me play with some L words to emphasize the idea of living. First was life on campus. Life on campus. At that time, there were 57 fraternities, 28 sororities. The Greek system was very influential in running the campus. And with membership in DU, which was a leading fraternity, my life on campus now had a new, upgraded identity and an avenue into some opportunities. Another L word, leadership. So there were opportunities within the house, within the Greek system, within the campus activities that DU connected me with to learn about leadership, take advantage of the opportunities that were offered. Another L word, libations. Being in the house would lead me to learn how to drink and socialize and hopefully handle that drinking activity. Another L word, ladies. So being a part of DU would lead to a lot of connections with women on campus through the exchanges, the house dances, other social activities, connections through the brothers. It was time to take advantage of the co-eds. And another L word, laughter. There wasn't a day that would go by without different brothers saying something or doing something that would lead to repeated bouts of laughter. There's just hundreds of crazy memories that I have that bring back smiles every time I think of them. But these are the conditions of living that I saw as an undergrad. The college days end and we move on, but the conditions of living still continue. Lifetime friendships. We all have these today because of the experiences from living in the house. Loyalty, a connection to DU and the brotherhood that transcends time and distance. And legacy, a membership in an institution that is larger than each of us, shaped by the brothers that came before us, shaped by each of us in our time, shaped by those that followed us, and yet to be shaped by those who will come to experience DU at Illinois. So we're now enjoined in an effort to improve the day-to-day living conditions at the chapter. Well, these improved living conditions with a renovated house are going to give us a real competitive edge in recruiting the best of those that want to be a member of the fraternity system at Illinois. And the reservation will help us showcase the conditions of living that accrue to the membership in our wonderful fraternity. So I'll step aside now and yield the floor to Dan Gibbs, the chair of the renovation committee. And Dan has an exciting message, along with Matt Sturgeon, to share about the alumni board and important changes to the board that tie directly to the renovation of the chapter house. You're going to be real pleased to hear about these changes. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. And before we get going, I'm going to turn the floor over to Matt Sturgeon and let him introduce himself. But Matt and I worked on this presentation. It's mainly Matt's because we're focusing on one of the two boards that we've broken into. And so I guess, Matt, I'll just turn over to you. Maybe just introduce yourself, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's a pleasure to meet everybody. I'm really looking forward to kind of sharing some of what we've been experiencing over the last decade or so. And as we move into this new important era of our house, kind of what are some of the things that we're doing as an alumni network to support the investment that so many of you have made in this amazing fraternity. So I'll introduce myself first. My basics, I graduated in 2012. My hometown is Gurnee, Illinois, but I live in Logan Square, Chicago now. I'm a psychology major, human resource management master's, all from University of Illinois. My pledge dad is Steve Kirby. So a little bit about me. When I graduated in 2012, I then rolled right into my master's program, which is a year and a half long. And in that time, I started as chapter advisor on campus, which was fun, being able to work with the then president and all the undergrads and learn a little bit about how to do this now at the alumni level. And then upon leaving the university, I joined the board right away and have really been involved ever since. I think this is my 11th year serving as an alum. And I've also spent the last 5 or 6 years as president, working with a number of the amazing gentlemen that are on this call and are not on this call to really improve our house in every way that we can. And so the goal of me talking to you all today is to tell you a little bit about what we've experienced over the years that have gotten to us to this point today, what it's like on campus, and what we're doing now to, again, protect that investment and everything that's being done to this fraternity that we've called home at various points in our lives. Talking a little bit about Greek life, I know Mike just gave a wonderful kind of summary of what life on campus looked like. Some of the things that I'm sure pockets of this group of men understand is that things change. Life on campus has been very different over the decades and the eras that we've all experienced. Even in the 12 years since I've graduated, things have changed considerably. And in our work with the undergraduate president, treasurer, and all the exec board members, we see how things change rapidly, and we have to grow and evolve with it. So, some of those things for consideration: number of years that students live in. I know some of the gentlemen on this call probably come from times when you might join as you're showing up on campus for your freshman year, or maybe shortly after that, and spend 3 or 4 years living in the house. We don't see that as much anymore. None of the fraternities do on campus. And that's something that I think a lot of us have had to grow with and learn how to adjust to. Connectivity between pledge classes. That's something that has changed significantly over the years. Because of that reduction in the number of years that students live in, sometimes those bonds don't form as strong as we want them to, but we're doing things to improve that. And let's not forget that we did get to see what the university life was like through a global pandemic. And some of those changes, I feel, are lasting and impactful, especially with the generations that are coming in now. A lot of them grew up in a very different educational setting than some of the guys that came before. These are all things that we've had to evolve with, as well as learn how to better support the undergrads with. We've made tremendous strides over the years as in terms of how we as an alumni network support the undergrads. Some of the things that we've done even before we've gotten to this point of looking at a major renovation is instituting financial and payment systems. We're actually going through a next generation version of this now, and introducing LegFi for undergraduate financial management. Contracting improvements, going from poorly organized contractual documents, sometimes non-existent, to a structured way of making sure, especially with how expensive housing is now, undergrads understand the obligation that they're setting forth on, as well as instituting 2-year live-in requirements. We understand that things have changed in terms of student preferences, but we do believe that at least 50%, if not more, of your time as a DU on campus should be spent inside the walls of the chapter house. So all of these things, are just kind of trying to paint a picture of this ever-changing environment that we as an alumni network have had to evolve with, which brings us to our next slide. Dan, if you'll advance a little bit. We've had to also think a little bit about the future and what are we going to do to continue to evolve with the way the university and undergraduate life changes, but also with our new renovated house and all of the benefits that come with that. We also want to make sure that we're instituting a structure and leading kind of an alumni organizational model that protects the investment that so many of you have made in the renovation of the house, to safeguard that investment and make sure it works for the undergrads in all the right ways. So that brings us to kind of the now. What have we recently done? And in 2024, we restructured our alumni support model in a very big way. We've split into two distinct entities, formal organizations. One is the Chapter Advisory Board, and one is the Housing Corporation Board. The Chapter Advisory Board really focuses on the undergrads, the mentorship and programming support for them, and making sure that they can continue to be high functioning and get what they need to be able to support the full chapter. Whereas the Housing Corporation Board focuses on the physical property ownership, financials, and facility management. And we'll get a little bit into how these two differ, and then I'll spend some time focusing specifically on the Chapter Advisory Board and how it's going to grow with the undergrads in the years to come. What does separating into this two model format do for us? It allows us to have two groups that operate with purpose and expertise. So we have one group that is very much focused on those undergrads, one that's focused very much on the house. It gives us that focus that we really needed over the last few years. And now we have the increased motivation to split in that way. It also aligns with best practices that are recommended by our international fraternity, as well as a lot of our peers. We've seen some of the highest performing fraternities out there in the DU network have this kind of two model approach, one focusing on the house and one focusing on advising the undergrads. It also gives alumni more choices. Alumni can get involved, and we'll certainly talk about this towards the end of my presentation. They can get involved in ways that match their interests best. We have some alumni that, of course, care deeply about the operations of our fraternity, the finances behind our fraternity, and our chapter physical property. And then we have other alumni that really want to focus into those one-on-one relationships that they make with the undergrads. So we've created this network that now allows people to choose more closely with how they want to get involved. It better positions us for long-term capital improvements, such as what we've gone through in financial planning, and then just overall clearly defines roles and responsibilities across all involved alumni, reduces our liability significantly, and better serves the undergraduate chapter. So if we move to the next slide, we showcase a little bit about that side by side. Some of this is a little repetitive, but when it comes to the Chapter Advisory Board, which is highlighted on the left, currently we're a 10-member organizational unit that provides that one-to-one mentorship to the undergraduate exec boards. This might include following DUI rules and best practices, helping the undergrads with recruiting techniques and tactics, which we will explain in a little bit more detail soon, interfacing with PCH, which is always one of our critical stakeholders, private certified housing, and managing day-to-day chapter finances amongst the chapter and the undergrads. But really, it's about supporting and coaching those undergraduate leaders. Whereas the Housing Corporation Board currently is made up of 3 alumni members who oversee all of the related operations for 312 East Armory. They're focused on financial management, vendor management, house improvements, and significant maintenance and repair, and making sure that we provide the undergrads and the chapter a safe, comfortable environment that is conducive to learning and personal growth. With that, on the next slide, you'll see a quick highlight of all of the members that have been serving across these two boards. A lot of these gentlemen are incredibly dedicated to supporting our various efforts across the CAB and the HCB. It's been phenomenal working with all these people to kind of progress what we're doing in this new era of the DU House. So you'll see the CAB members on the left, as well as the Housing Corporation Board on the right. So how does the CAB operate? Let's take a second to focus just on the CAB, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing moving into this new fall of 2025. So as I mentioned before, each member is assigned to an undergraduate counterpart. So myself, as chapter board president, I'm assigned to Jimmy Degnan, the president. I believe he's on this call. And my role is to support him and make sure that he gets the resources he needs as he continues to lead and support his undergraduate brothers. Our roles as CAB members are to become experts in that role. So the VPs of membership education or membership recruitment, their job is to really understand that role, soup to nuts, and be able to support the undergraduate counterparts as they go through the year and go through their role and responsibilities. Regularly attending meetings, participating, sharing the workload, connecting with their undergraduate counterparts, developing those relationships as advisors and supporters, and of course, using all the resources at their disposal. These are all the kind of core tenets of what we're doing as CAB members in supporting the undergrads. So it's really been kind of a change of pace for us. A lot of our calls on a monthly basis, back when we were just one single alumni board, we had to balance the difficult priorities of, are we having conversations about the finances and the insurance and the vendor management of the chapter house, or are we focused more on supporting people's like Jimmy or Yash, the previous financial chair, and making sure that they get what they need. So we've really been able to bifurcate, which has allowed us to pay more attention to the different purposes and expertise that we all bring. You'll see a little bit of this highlighted on the next slide, Dan, if you can progress. This is an actual snippet, and you can go ahead and click a couple times. There's 3 boxes that pop up. This is an actual snippet that comes from the DU International website under advisory resources. And you can see clear as day, individuals from the chapter advisory board associated with each of these defined positions by DU International. They provide a ton of resources for us to use in supporting the undergrads, things like the advisory handbook, but then also role-specific things like meta-merit standards for the chapter advisor, things like administrative due dates and fees for the secretary. All of these resources are meant for us to be better supporters of our undergraduate counterparts. And if you click again, Dan, you'll see kind of a double click on one of the roles, the chapter advisory role, which I serve. There's 2 text boxes that will pop up. And you can just kind of see what one of these looks like. So a lot of our members, our CAB members, have spent a lot of time going through these resources and making sure we understand what's at our disposal so that we can better support the undergrads. So this gets us to kind of the reason why I'm here on this call and talking to you all, not just to teach you a little bit more about how your alumni boards are set up, but also to talk a little bit about what we're doing to support you all and the investment you've made. Again, $4.5 million is an incredible investment, a record-breaking investment when it comes to what's happening at the on Illinois' campus. And the chapter advisory board, of course, the Housing Corporation board, but our CAB is also motivated to supporting the undergrads in realizing the benefit of that investment. The best way that we as the CAB can support the ROI behind your investment is by supporting those undergrads who fill the house and retaining strong membership year after year and building better men. And so that's really what the CAB is here to do. I'll also call out too, as we talk about a little bit around membership, recruitment, and retainment, Tom Marekis and P.O. Switch, the CAB, have both taken on the roles of our advisors to the VP of membership recruitment. And their goal is to focus on how do I make sure the VPs of member recruitment and Rush down on campus have what they need, have a sounding board, have people that have seen it before, even though things have changed, in order to support them as they go into this new Rush season. This also comes after, and something I want to talk to you all a little bit about, after an investment in a private consultant from an organization called Campus Speak, who specializes in the education and the coaching of undergraduate members across the fraternity and Greek landscape. We had that mentor support us through January of 2025. And what we want to do is kind of educate this group a little bit on some of those key things that we learned from that consultant. That was, of course, an important investment of ours, one that is directly related into supporting the investment that you all have now made in the fraternity. So if we go to the next slide, this one is perfect. I'll kind of touch on 5 of the most key tenets. Now, Dave with Campus Speak gave us a lot to digest and a lot to learn from. It was a very helpful few months that he was supporting us. We have a responsibility to take that and implement it further, but I'll touch on kind of the top 5, at least from our perspective, key tenets of what he taught us that is kind of shifting the way we look at Rush. This first one is absolutely critical. It's sniper, not buckshot. Really, it's about shifting the focus with our undergraduate team members away from focusing on the events that they're planning over the course of that short Rush period to the individuals who are attending those events. Now, that might seem, pretty straightforward, but we've worked really hard over the years, all of the Rush classes, in really putting on awesome events that get people interested, get people into the house, get them meeting individuals that are full members. But it's about what do you do after you get them in to those events, and focusing on those individuals and making sure that you're building those relationships. Leveraging teams for the recruitment process. This is a big thing too, as we've learned more about hunting in packs, making sure that you have that core team of however many guys that are actually going in and identifying a handful of individuals that are interested in the fraternity and working closely together and building that close-knit kind of sub-friend group that will then translate its way into the larger population of DU. We go to the next slide. Third is improving the product. Focus on the bonds. It's not just about partying. I'm sure a lot of the elements that Mike walked through a little bit earlier in this presentation are still absolutely critical, as they were in my time as well. But it's about making sure that we focus on the bonds that matter. It's that brotherhood. It comes down to brotherhood. That's what we're here to provide for new members, and that's what we really want to focus on. Those high quality men that are going to join the ranks of our fraternity are going to do so because they look around and they see the people that they can have a friendship with that will last a lifetime. So continuing on there, taking advantage of a longer sales season. This might have been one of the more interesting ones that Dave brought to our attention. Is yes, we do have a designated rush period, and we really have to focus most of our energy on that period, but making sure to remember that it doesn't have to stop there. There are relationships to be built. There's networking to be done. There's organizational aspects of rush that can always be occurring. There's people that haven't even gotten to the university yet that are already signaling that they might be interested in being in a fraternity. All of these concepts need to be rolled into the overarching concept of it's a year-long process, and we need to have individuals in the undergraduate teams that focus on it, not just in those 4 or 5 weeks or the weeks leading up to it, but throughout the entirety of the year. And then finally, setting high standards. This goes to quality. A high quality rush class will lead to a high quality active class, which will lead to high quality alumni networks and men that focus on this as brotherhood for years to come. So it's really important that we're not looking just to get numbers. Numbers are important. We want to fill the house, especially after the renovation. But we want to make sure we do it with guys that care deeply about the brotherhood and the bonds that they're making, that have already signaled that they have those kind of prerequisite skills or resume experiences that show they care about organizations like this and are willing to put forth, their personalities, their blood, sweat, and equity into making this a better organization. So again, if we go to the next, yeah, perfect. I wanted to share that all with you because, this is kind of a core tenet of what we're building our future practices on. What's really awesome now is because of the way that we've restructured, we can now better focus on supporting those undergrads. Where really the feedback we got from Dave was super helpful. It definitely changed our perspective, but having alumni who understand what it's like to be a DU, supporting directly the undergrads who are focused on rush and recruitment, that's really critical. And so what we're doing now as we move into this new phase with a new structure, a renovated house, are a couple of things. We're focused on high quality candidates all year round. It's not for 4 weeks, it's not for 6 weeks, and it's not just about numbers. Let's focus on making sure we get high quality guys, because those guys will lead to more high quality guys. Agreeing upon, as a community, what are we marketing to those high quality members? What is it that we're talking about? We're not going out there and having some groups of rush participants saying, oh, we're a party house, or, oh, hey, we only focus on sports and intramurals. It's all about like having a cohesive messaging, having everyone understand how to communicate what matters to DU, and being able to talk about that to the prospective rushes. Having more participation from actives. This is something that's always been a point of improvement, is making sure that it doesn't just end with the rush chairs, the rush leads, that everyone takes an active role in supporting rush. And of course, for years, people have all joined the activities and the events, which is awesome. But it's also about making sure that they're really investing themselves in those one-on-one relationships. And having those one-on-one active candidate pairings is really critical, making sure that candidates start to see individuals within the ranks as their close friends. Hey, I want to be a part of the organization that these gentlemen are a part of, and continue those 4 years and beyond being a part of this amazing fraternity. So there's a lot happening to grow how we look at Rush and improve how we do Rush and really focus on quality and those relationships. And I, give kudos to everything that my team is doing with the cab to get those, balls rolling for this next fall. As we get to the last slide here, little call to action. Yeah, so I'll just start with, one of the things that we as a cab, as you can tell, have a lot on our plates in terms of supporting the undergrads. And the more people we have that can give their time and energy to doing so, the better we'll be able to function. So it is absolutely critical that we as a chapter advisory board build a roster and a pipeline of alumni that really care about our fraternity and want to give back in ways that aren't just financial. So what I ask you all, I know that many people, if not everybody on this call, have given in some way, shape, or form over the years, whether it's their time or their money. But if you have any interest in joining, whether it's the Housing Corporation Board or the Chapter Advisory Board, either now or in the years to come, I'd love to be able to discuss your interests. You can always reach out to myself or Dan. We can talk through what it means and what that looks like. We're always looking for people to jump in and support, and making sure that, while we have members right now that are giving their time and energy as cab members, that there are people that can follow in behind them and kind of keep running with the torch. And we want alumni from all eras and walks of life, from the guys that are recently out of school and know what it's like right now in 2024, 2025, to the guys that have been out of it for a while and have served as quality DU alumni for decades and are ready to get re-involved in the undergrads. So again, there's no one that we would turn away. The CAB especially needs those individuals who are interested in supporting our undergrads, especially as the landscape of fraternity life at the University of Illinois continues to evolve, continues to become complex. We need those people that will dedicate some of their time to support. So I've said a lot. I really wanted to paint a picture of all the things that we're doing right now to evolve and grow and protect the investment that's being made in this fraternity. I know that there were questions supposed to come at the end, but just given, we're at the end of this section, I'd be more than happy to field any or check the chat, whatever it might be. But thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to present to you all and talk a little bit about what it is we're doing as a chapter advisory board.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it. Awesome work. You guys are doing some really good things there. So I'm up next on just 2 slides around fundraising. This is my usual update on how we're doing. If you recall in our March call, we told you we were going to up the campaign goal to $4.5 million, and that's what Matt referred to. And I'll get to some thoughts on that on the next slide. To date, we have total donations all in of just over $3.8 million. 250 unique donors, average donation just over 15,000. And the percentage of gold left to raise is 14.9. I mean, typically I show this as, how far we've come. But this one is specifically to show you how much we have left, because I think the number is more inspiring and it seems more attainable. So to that point, we need roughly $670,000. And I know people on this phone, the people who participate in this call by and large are already donors, and we appreciate that. But we need that additional $670,000 to reach the $4.5 million goal. And one way to look at it is if all 250 donors that have given each gave about $2,700 more, and that's not an insignificant amount of money, we'd be at that goal. Or if you wanted to look the other way and say if we could just get 44 more donors at the average donation level of the 15,000 and change, we would be there as well. So one of the things I've talked to the group about over the last year or year and a half since we've been doing this is the fact that this 250,000 or 250 people here have made all the difference in the world, but we spend a lot of time in the campaign committee talking about reaching the other over 1,000 living U.S. or DU alumni. And so if we could get that number up by 50 people, even if it wasn't by 15,000 a piece, it would make a huge difference, because that really is where a lot of the leverage is. So I just leave that for your consideration. And again, I've said before, if you know somebody, a buddy of yours, a brother who hasn't been on these calls, encourage them to look at the replay of this meeting. We post it right after the meeting, and just get them interested. You don't even have to solicit a donation. Just let them know what we're doing and let them see it and see how things soak in with them. That would be very helpful. So, like I said before, the bar has been raised. We've come a long way. Since last March, we've raised another $175,000 from our dedicated brothers, and that number is a huge number, right? We can't do anything but be happy about the fact that that's some nice progress, which shows the capacity to get there as we move forward. But as I mentioned before in the title slide and before, the bar has been raised and the campaign goal is now $4.5 million. We've incurred significant extra costs brought about by addressing the eccentricities of the 100-year-old house. Some of the things that we've had to deal with. And then I go on in bullet number 2, there have been unexpected costs as well as some lost time reconfiguring designs and getting city approval. Our house is unique, and with that comes some complications. And some that come to mind is we've had to put a very elaborate fire shutter system in that's going to contain fires so people can escape the house, since we brought back the central staircase. And there's many other things that we've just had to, and Chuck's work, to make modifications that then have to go back to the city all the time. So all this stuff to try and accelerate us to the point where we're there on time. We're still confident we're going to finish on time, but the cost to accelerate that work and just the added contingencies and things we've run into have really necessitated this extra ask. So, just to be a leader by example, the campaign finance or fundraising committee has decided that we wanted to kick off a matching donor program of our own. So most of the people who have been involved in the committee, all the current active members of the committee, have pledged a match of up to $25,000. So essentially, if we can get people to contribute any contributions that come in between tonight and August 12th will be matched dollar for dollar up to this amount. So the potential impact is $50,000 more if others are inspired to donate. And that's really hopefully something that will get us, keep the momentum going. It's really keeping in front of people and trying to make sure that we're making progress against the goal. And you'll hear more in August about other fundraising stuff that we're thinking about and hoping to implement. But for the moment, as we're in the summer here, we introduced this one that'll go through August 12th. And then the last thing is, grab your phone and feel free to donate. I don't know where your credit cards max out, but we're willing to test that out if you want to scan and donate. And in all seriousness, if you have any questions, if you're thinking that you want to donate a different way or you don't want to do it online, then I'm more than happy to talk to people about that and see what can be done to accommodate what's on your mind as far as donations. All right. So next up is the ribbon cutting reunion. And I don't know, Kevin, has Peter joined us? I haven't had a chance to go out and look.
Yes, I am here. I made it.
Okay. So I'll turn this over to you guys to go ahead and I'll advance the slides as you go through it here.
Kevin, you're on
Kevin?
mute. Unmute.
Kevin, are you there?
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, so is Peter.
Can you get us off?
Yeah, I can
You're
hear you
off.
now.
You hear me? You hear Peter? We're
Yep.
good? Sorry about that. Yeah, quite a journey with this thing. But been a heck of a lot of fun. And yeah, with us tonight is Peter Mativier, and he's a 27 and he's our reunion liaison in the house, and just a great looking guy with a good sense of humor. And Jimmy Degnan is also on the call. He's the chapter president. These guys, and a lot of these guys, have been very involved in And Dave Howe is on the call. He's my pledge dad, and he's been keeping me in line to keep this project going. So I might ask you guys to chime in a little bit as we talk about this. So what you see on the screen is the overall agenda. I think most of you are probably familiar with it. Friday, 3 o'clock, arrive-ish, whenever you like. 5 o'clock, the fun will start, and we'll go through the evening. Can you go back, please, Dan?
Oh, sorry.
There you go. So Friday will be all of the hotel, the Hilton Garden Inn. And one of the guys in the house is going to be our DJ. We're collecting all the songs from different eras people want to hear. There'll be a small dance floor. It should be a heck of a lot of fun. Saturday morning is, we got good news today. We secured the open bar. Apparently open bar is cheaper at 9 in the morning than it is at 4 in the afternoon, I learned today. So that helped our budget a little bit. And I'm telling you guys, drinking as much people at 4 o'clock. We'll see how that works out. So that's good to go. Dave, maybe Dave, you can comment. Are you unmuted, Dave, by any chance?
Yeah, I can talk. The Saturday event is tightening up with all the details that needed to be resolved, working in our favor to include budget-wise. So it'll be a barbecue type theme, very reminiscent of the old days when we used to have barbecues before football games. So it should be a really good opportunity to follow up on the activities, the interactions, the relationship building from the Friday night experience. So, it'll be everything from the open bar that Kevin has just described to the hot dog, beer, burger kind of theme. And it should be a really good time.
Yeah, and we're told it's 75 degrees and sunny that day, so we're good to go with that as well. That'll work out just fine, I believe. And then Sunday you'll be on your own. So we're trying to figure out the way best utilize the buses that will be running from the hotels to the house and how to get them maybe over by the quad, maybe the engineering quad. We're working on that. That's on our July list. So you can advance, Dan, if you don't mind. This sheet, I'm going to get you to know Peter and Jimmy here a little bit. This is what we've been working. Well, the real kick of doing this is getting to know the guys in the house, as you might suspect. There's nothing like a 20-year-old with energy and optimism. We got a lot of them. And Jimmy or Peter or both would give us quick thoughts about, I don't know, what you're looking forward to the reunion, what the mood of the guys are in the house. Have at it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I can start us off. Genuinely, guys are so excited, not only just for this new house, but for the reunion. Something that I think that we've been missing from this fraternity is our connection to alumni. I'm really excited that, that piece will be coming back. I really think that the reunion will be a special time for us to, reignite those relationships and continue them for the time to come. Guys are really excited. As you can see from this slide, we've already set up roles, and every guy has a role within this reunion to make sure that it flows smoothly. But then also I wanted to comment on Tom's comment in the chat about just making sure that, once those donations are made, which I want to say thank you to all of you, because I know most of you on this call have made donations or even just supporting us by joining this call. I want to say thank you. And we really appreciate all of that, all of the concern and care that you're still putting into the house even after you graduated. But we are working really hard as an executive board, Jimmy as president, I'm as vice president, and our entire team. Since we've been elected, we've been working really hard at, brainstorming what that's going to look like and holding guys accountable, not just having the freshmen clean the house, but ensuring that, we are handed this incredible opportunity to live in a brand new house, that has so many memories inside of it, and that people really donated to and really just like gave up time and their care to. And so that's really important to us to make sure that we are respecting that and that this house is, cared for the future generations. But I'll turn it over to Jimmy to see what he has to say also.
Yeah, to follow up with what Peter said, first and foremost, just thank you to everyone on this call and also the people who couldn't make it tonight. Obviously, none of this is possible without you guys, the help that you've given us, the generosity that you've shown. it means more than you guys could ever know. But yeah, overall mood, the guys are super excited. Everyone is super excited to meet, connect with alumni, and especially after this past year without the chapter house, it kind of felt like there was a very large disconnect between our chapter and the traditions of DU. You know, without the chapter house, without a homecoming, without, you know, just the norms of being in a fraternity with that place that we can all be at. So we're all super excited to get back to, you know, normal fraternity life that we've all been missing. Guys are more than excited to be helping with the reunion. I send a text probably once or twice a day talking about the reunion, and people seem really, really excited. So, yeah.
Jimmy, what's your take on how this will help recruitment, the new facility and the guys? Would give us a perspective on that, would you, please?
Oh yeah, of course. It's going to be incredibly valuable. We can't even really put its value into words. It's honestly unbelievable how the possibilities that the new house and the new facility opens up for us, and just to show people that we have a really good connection with our alumni. We have a great network. We have people that go through our fraternity and they care about it when they're in it, and then they also care about it once they're done. You know, it doesn't stop when you cross that stage with graduation. It's a lifelong commitment to the organization.
Well, I applaud. Peter, any thoughts there real quick or no?
No, yeah, I think Jimmy said that perfectly.
Great. I can't applaud you guys enough for the caliber of man that I've gotten to meet with a couple of visits down there, and the fact you've been able to get the caliber of person you have without a facility, pretty impressive stuff. It's going to be really fun when you're playing with a full deck. So congratulations on what you're doing. It's going to be only 13 weeks away. I noticed on Saturday. It's crazy. Here it is. You can advance the slide, please. Some quick updates here. Now we're over 200 alums, undergrads, guests. For those of you that are on DU time, dragging your feet, get your sign up in. The price increases at the end of this month to $179. There's 2 core hotels, the Hiltons. Most of those rooms are now taken. I think we have 180, 190 room nights probably already taken at those 2 facilities. There's another block at the Holiday Inn, which is a short walk away. And if you need double queen beds instead of a king bed, that's available at that facility too. So that's all through the sign up link at the bottom of this slide. Talked about Saturday. The donuts are from a local shop in Savoy, which is kind of fun. The bar is from a local horse rancher bar in Monticello. So it's very, very central Illinois. Very fun. And then Kim Cox, 7850. He's a self-appointed vice president of football watch party on Saturday. We're trying to figure out some way to get a large screen TV, maybe even on the basketball court when the Illini play Duke, which is at 11 o'clock that morning. So combination of the open bar with the TV could be pretty fun. And that's kind of the plan. So if anybody on the call, we're still looking for a resource for TV rental, maybe even ESPN hookup to make that happen. So if you have any ideas with that, discounted or free, get back to me or to Dan, and he'll get it to me. And then the link is at the bottom for how you sign up, and you can click on that if you want, or just take a note and jot it down. I think that'll cover it for the reunion side. We're fun. We're having fun. The next couple of days, is there another slide, Dan? I can't recall. No, there's not. Maybe go back real quick. You will be receiving a postal mailer. You can see in the red the who's attending list with a list of who's signed up so far. We think that only about half of the people that are going to come have signed up. So you get the list, get on the phone, get on whatever device you have to, but get your buddies there. You're never going to have a shot like this again. It's just the way it works. So any reunion questions, we'll take them. Anybody?
And Kevin, I think the key, and you emphasize it, but I want to do it again, is this party's for all DUs from all eras. If you haven't donated, that's not a prerequisite to be here. We love donations, but if you know somebody who you think isn't going to attend because they haven't donated and don't feel it's for them, it's a reunion for everybody. So please come.
Great call, Dan. Thanks for pointing that out. Really important.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Peter, Kevin, Dave, and Jimmy. Appreciate it. Nice work.
Fun stuff. Thanks for the opportunity.
So the next meeting, I just want to see, yeah, I'm back here. So Mike, this is your closing. I guess before you get going, I would just say to let everybody know our next meeting is August 12th. You notice today we didn't get into more pictures of the house. There's so much crap in there as they're racing around that it's I don't know, we thought we would focus more on how we're protecting the investment, but we have every expectation that we'll give you detailed pictures and stuff about, with the house and where it is on the August 12th meeting. And please attend that one if that's of particular interest to you. And then Mike, without further ado, I'll turn over the closing to you. And then at the end, I know there's some questions in the chat, and I know the folks on this that have been working on this, fundraising and the reunion and everything will stick around, and Matt, I think, to take any questions you might have. So Mike.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Throughout this renovation campaign, with all our communications, we've been asking the Brotherhood to support the campaign with their treasure. Buck up, please. Support with your treasure. As you can see, with all the detailed work that Matt Sturgeon has done with the reorganization of the alumni board, we're now asking for not just treasure, but time and talent. I'm always amazed, and especially as I've worked on this renovation campaign, I'm amazed at the talent and the accomplishments of so many of the brothers. And I think there's just a huge, deep pool of value that is available to be offered to the chapter. And as Matthew so well described, we've got positions open for mentoring. If the position that you like is already filled, buddy up with the person who's there so that you learn it and you're ready to step up and help. This is really a direct effort to protect, as Matt said and Dan has said, in the big investment that we've made and the significant investment that's required of this renovation. So I'll to sort of bring a little circle here. We all know how to be brothers to our peers and to those close to us in chapter experiences. But we now have a little bit, maybe with the restructuring of the board, the additional role of being dads, in a sense, to the undergrads. So asking for your time and talent, not for the living conditions, but to strengthen the chapter for the conditions of living. And just to close a circle from my opening story, because of my father's admonition that the living standards in the house weren't going to be sufficient, I decided to take some action. And as a sophomore coming into the house, not initiated as an active, I volunteered to be the house manager. I guess that would be the equivalent of VP of maintenance now. Not a great accomplishment because nobody else wanted the job. But I knew Dad's Day was coming up, and I thought we better show that DU knows how to do something. And that led to my taking on that position. So just another example of all the leadership opportunities that came through the conditions of living. So hats off to everybody who's done so much great work, and we look forward to a fabulous conclusion and a fabulous renovation party. Thank you all.
Great, thank you, Mike. At this stage, any questions people have? I know Dave, you sent me a text while we were presenting here that there were some questions in the chat. So certainly, willing to entertain any questions that people have things on their mind.
Yeah, Dan, I think most of the questions revolve around one point submitted by Tom, and that is now that we have made the investment, I'd like to hear more about any plans afoot, weekly care of the house, their cleaning, maintenance, and general upkeep.
Yeah, let me start this, and I might throw it to Jimmy and Peter. It's when we were in the house, in my era anyhow, we took care of the house ourselves. The board, when it was one alumni board, had discussions about whether we wanted to bring a cleaning service in, for the common areas, let's say once a week or something like that. And that's still something I think that the cab can talk about. But at this stage, based on not a budget problem, but just trying to understand where we land after the renovation is completed and we're in a steady state, we hadn't pursued that any further. So I get the sense though, Jimmy and Peter, that you guys are kind of committed to making sure the house stays in good shape. And then I would say that those kind of discussions would first come through the cab, and then Matt can come back to us, or you can come to me directly about proposals you have on a cleaning service if it makes sense for everybody involved.
I don't think we would need a cleaning service. I think everyone understands the importance of keeping the facility nice, and respecting what we have. So I personally don't believe that we need it.
Okay.
Just to add on to that, in terms of like cleaning, yeah, that's something that we've had even through my entire time in DU. There's always a cleaning schedule every week that every guy has a portion in participating in. But then also we've talked about fines and like making sure, like I think every guy's on the same board that we're incredibly, grateful for the generosity of this new house, and that like we need to treat it as such. But if there is someone who has an infraction on that, punches a wall or something, there will be fines, not only just to replace that and to fix the damage, but then also to make sure that like there is some, not financial hurt, because of course they're our brothers, but make sure that doesn't happen again, that we set a precedent that that's not okay and it will not be tolerated within this new house.
That sounds great, guys. Appreciate the answer. Anything else, Dave, from the chats?
No other questions.
Guys, anything out in the ethos there?
Dan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Matt, we should recognize Matt real quick. I mean, how many years, Matt, have you done the board president role now?
Matt had to drop to start his role as president of the board, but I believe it was 11 years. And what was it, 7, 8, 9 years as president?
No, it's just over 5 years. Matt and I were talking about that as president. Yeah, and that guy speaks to the whole issue that is so important here, that many hands make light work, right? And so, very honestly, there was no one who was stepping up to take over the presidency, and Matt, just out of the goodness of his own heart and love for the house, continued to do it because he's such a talented guy. But it's not fair. We need to come up, and I'm speaking for the cab, even though I shouldn't. We need to probably come up with a rotation schedule to share some of that responsibility as they move forward. And that's where more alumni involved really makes it a lot better. I mean, if you join, you can join. I'll just speak for Matt on this. If you have an interest in joining the cab, no one's going to say, "Hey, here's a stack of stuff to do." You can join, participate in the meetings, see where you might fit in, where you think your strengths would match up, and then go from there. And then, like I said before, many people trying to do the work makes it a lot easier. So that's kind of maybe that's a little bit of my commercial for Matt and the cab.
I would just add that I chaired a doctoral dissertation last fall that was a national study of mental health issues of men and fraternities nationwide. The changes that have happened with COVID and since COVID are greater, in my opinion, than at any time the changes have occurred from the day I stepped out of the DU House. And so I really like the structure of the board. I think that makes lots of sense. And one of the things that all of us are pretty active. Some of our colleagues, brothers of our eras, may not understand just how significant these changes are. Mental health problems are way up. Fraternities actually have a very positive role in a world with a lot of loneliness and these damn things. So I'm very happy to hear this and just want to thank the leadership of the board for your efforts.
Thank you, Kat. All right, we won't belabor it.
Dan,
Yeah.
no problem. I mean, I'm just going to throw Matt's email in the chat. People could drop him a note. I mean, well, we all buy him a beer in Champaign, but I mean, it's just like you. The effort is incredibly impressive, and the duration of effort. We owe you guys a lot of pats on the back.
Hey, Dave, are you throwing it in, or I'll throw that in?
It's already in the chat. He provided
Okay.
it before.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll repost it so people see it at the bottom of the chat.
Okay, cool.
And
All right,
each of
guys.
you will get a recording email tomorrow. If you can forward that recording email to anybody who might have a blue and gold shirt in their closet, that would be wonderful.
All right, guys, thank you for participating, and we'll see you in August then.
Very good. Thanks, Dan.
And take care, guys.
Thanks, guys. Great meeting.